Good morning everyone. Welcome to my first ever vlog. So, before we start, I would like to introduce myself. I am Ana Grace Deola from grade 11 Lapu-Lapu in Lunok Norte National High School. So, since this is my first vlog, I am going to talk about the communication breakdown. What are the concept, causes, and different kinds of communication breakdown, and of course, the strategies to avoid communication breakdowns. So let's start. We have the physical barriers. So from the itself physical, we can see it or we can hear it because it came from our environment. Next is the psychological barrier. When we say psychological barriers, it has to do with your problem or the trauma, or the speaker might have depression, or even the receiver. Next is we have the cultural barriers, which can be classified as a communication breakdown wherein the two people or the speaker or the receiver may not fully understand each other because they have different beliefs, they have different cultures, or even religions. Next is we have the linguistic barriers, which includes the improper use of grammars, or they might have different languages that they are using. For example, the Waray and the Bisaya are talking, so really they have different language, so there might be misunderstanding or conflicts between their communication. And we also have the three kinds of noises, which is just similar to the barrier. So the first is we have the external noise, which can be similarly to the physical noise because it comes from our environment or it came from around. And next we have the internal noise, which is similarly to the psychological barrier because it came from the speaker itself. We have also the semantic noise, which can be classified which is really similar to the linguistic barrier and the cultural barrier because it has something to do with grammars and languages that the two are using. So here are the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. The first is one must have clarity of thought before speaking. So as we all know, we have this speaking which states that think before you say, because if you are not going to arrange your thoughts, you might not have the focus or you might not deliver the message carefully. Second is learn to listen. So if you are a receiver, you must learn to listen for you to understand and get the meaning or the message and the information. Then next is take care of your body language and tone. So if you are a speaker, you must use the proper gestures, you must have the eye contact with your audience, and you must not act on stage or in front of the audience like you are not confident enough. Next is build up your confidence by asking for feedback and observing others. So as I said a while ago, if you speak, you must have the confidence. You must show to your audience that you believe on your standpoint. Next is keep focused. So if you're not focused, if you're just merely talk and talk, and you don't have any focus, you might be lost. The message will not be sent properly because you are not in the focus. Next is speak intelligibly. So when you speak in front or when you communicate, you must speak intelligibly. For example, you must use the proper pitch, the proper tone of your voice. Next is minimize distractions. So when you speak, you must avoid doing unnecessary things that might cause misunderstanding or that can disturb the communication. Next is be specific. So in speaking, you must use simple words that can be understood easily. And you must also consider your audience. For example, if your audience is those parents or those elderly people, you must use just simple for them to understand the message properly and easily. And next is do not jump to conclusions. So if you're a sender, you must if you're a speaker rather, you must let first the speaker finish his or her message or speech, so that you might not get it wrong, you might not get the message wrong, and you can conclude it properly. You must not assume or make any conclusions that's not really appropriate. Then we also have the tips on how to avoid communication breakdown, and it is also called the 7 C's. So the first is the completeness. In order for you to deliver it or to send the message properly, you must have the complete information. And if you once you send the message, it must be complete, exactly complete. Next is the conciseness. The message should be direct or straight to the point. No more other unnecessary words that may just add, or that may just lead the information away to the point. You must straight to the point. Next is the consideration. So in order for it to be effective, the speaker or the sender should consider its audience or the audience background, their experiences, so that they can relate to your message or the information you are giving. Next is the concreteness. So effective communication is backed up by facts. So if you speak, you must provide some facts or real situations that is connected to your topic. Next is the courtesy. So the speaker must show respect, or you must respect and consider or accept the opinion of your audience or the listener. Next is the correctness. So one must avoid mistakes in grammars, and you must use really proper grammars. You must study your topic so that when you present or when you speak in front, you might not cause any conflict, and the message would be delivered correctly. And lastly, we have the clearness. It is really important to have simple and specific words, as I said a while ago, and consider your audience so that the message might be understood easily. We also have some helpful expressions to avoid communication breakdown. First is use helpful expressions to gain time to think. So we all know that some speakers are not really fluent in speaking in front, and there might time that they forgot the information that they want to talk to, and sometimes they just use like just like I used a while ago. I'm sorry for that. Next is give positive remarks or comments. So in order for the receiver to cheer up or to inspire or to motivate the speaker, so that the speaker might not lost and focus, you must give positive comments. Like, for example, I see what you mean. Like, yeah, you know it. Yeah, that's fantastic. Like that. The next is ask for repetition. In asking for repetition, one must be respectful enough. So when you ask for the repetition, you can say pardon miss or sir, like that. And then check for understanding. So if you're a speaker, you must really know that if your audience is listening carefully, or your audience can understand what you are saying or what the message is or the information is. So that would be all for this video, and I hope you learned something.